Hello, welcome to Motivating Monday. My name is Edwin. I'm glad that you're tuning in. And today we'll be looking at the book of Philemon. And to give you a quick context and background of this book, Philemon is a personal letter written by the Apostle Paul, likely around AD 60, during Paul's first imprisonment in Rome. And the recipient of this letter is Philemon, a Christian living in Colossae. And the purpose of this letter is to appeal on behalf of Onesimus, a runaway slave who had become a Christian under Paul's ministry. Philemon is one of the shortest books in the New Testament. Though it's only 25 verses long, it contains many valuable lessons that we can learn from. And today we will just focus on 2 learning points. So let's begin with forgiveness. In verses 15 to 19, Paul is writing to Philemon about Onesimus, a runaway slave who had wronged Philemon. Onesimus had likely stolen from him or at least caused some significant disruption by running away. But after meeting Paul and becoming a Christian, Onesimus was no longer just a servant. He was now a brother in Christ. In verse 16 it says, "No longer as a slave, but more than a slave, a beloved brother." So Paul urges Philemon to forgive him, even saying in verse 18, "But if he has wronged you or owes anything, put that on my account." So here we see that Paul gives us a very vivid example of a Christ-like intercession, offering to pay someone else's debt to restore a damaged relationship, an act so rooted in grace and sacrifice. But this isn't just a lesson for Philemon, it's for all of us. Jesus tells us in Matthew 18 verse 21 and 22 that we are to forgive not just 7 times, but 70 times 7. And in Matthew 6 verse 14 and 15 it says, "If we do not forgive others, our Father will not forgive us." So forgiveness is not optional, it's essential. Sometimes we carry bitterness or hold grudges, but James chapter 5 verse 9 warns us not to grumble against one another, lest we be condemned. Forgiveness brings freedom, not just to the one forgiven, but also to the one doing the forgiving. And in Philemon verse 19, Paul gently reminds Philemon and says to him, "You owe me even your own self besides." So what he's really saying is, Philemon, remember how much you've been given. So likewise, we have all been shown mercy and grace by God. So how can we not extend the same to others? So the second point we can learn here today is to go above and beyond what is expected. So let's turn to Philemon verse 21. Paul writes, "Having confidence in your obedience, I write to you, knowing that you will do even more than I say." Paul isn't just asking Philemon to forgive Onesimus. He believes Philemon will go further, perhaps even welcome him back, not as a slave, but as a brother and a partner in the gospel. So this challenges us to ask ourselves, are we doing just the bare minimum in our walk with God, or are we, like Philemon, willing to go the extra mile? In 2 Corinthians chapter 8 verse 1 to 5, Paul talks about the Macedonian believers. They were poor, but their generosity overflowed. Why? Because in verse 5 it says, "But they first gave themselves to the Lord." When we give ourselves fully to God, we naturally begin to give more than expected. Our time, our talents, our service. So let's not settle for checking the box. Let's aim to exceed expectations in love and obedience. Jesus went beyond for us, all the way to the cross. Shouldn't we go above and beyond for Him? Thanks for joining me on this Motivating Monday. And as we have seen through the book of Philemon, true faith shows up in how we forgive and how we go the extra mile for others. So let's choose grace, choose love, and choose to reflect Christ in all that we do this week. And until next time, stay encouraged and stay motivated. Thank you.